I'll go ahead and introduce Mr. Greg Meach. Come on up.
A little bit about me, 26 years as a pilot. A little closer here? Oh, there you go. 26 years flying airplanes. Right out of high school, went to college and just followed that career around the world, everywhere it took me to go. I enjoyed the work, but it can be brutal. I did flight instructing, cargo flying, charter flying, airlines. In the last 10 or 11 years, I've been flying high net worth families, flying these high net worth families in Gulfstream jets and Falcon jets, and that's been pretty fun, but it's been a pretty brutal career. So I knew after doing that for a while that I had to have something on the side or something else because it was such an unstable career. So of course I looked into real estate and I thought it'd be a good match, and it did pretty good. I started off doing single families, buy it, flip it, or instead of flip it, buy and hold it, and that worked out pretty well, but that was before I joined Lifestyle, so it took me about 10 years to get 12 single family homes. And it did me good, but I was working a lot, flying airplanes a lot. You get done flying the airplane, take your pilot uniform off, throw on a dirty t-shirt, and go paint a bathroom, Go lease an apartment, and go clean up some garbage. It really wasn't ideal, but I did that for about a decade.
Okay, and this is not the lifestyle model. I want you guys to understand that.
This is how you don't want to do it.
not what Dave was going to teach you.
Did that for a decade, and then I finally joined Lifestyles. And from there, I got into the multifamily because that was the better path after coming here. I came here thinking, okay, I got a little single family. I know what I'm doing. Immediately after going to the 2-day, I said, you know what? Multifamily is where I want to be. Let's do the lead thing.
And did you still make money on even though you did everything wrong on those single family?
I did. It just took me 10 years. What I could have done in 2 years, I did in 10 years. So if you don't want to, it's like flying an airplane. Up, down, left, right, we can all figure it out, right? But if you make a mistake, you're dead. Well, financially it's the same way, right? I know how to buy. You buy a house, you fix it up, you paint it, you put some renters in there. Yeah, but financially they're going to kill you because you're going to get the purple Martians, what they're going to talk about on the 2-day. So yeah, don't try to be a doctor without education. Don't try to be a pilot without education, and don't try to get into real estate and think you're going to be successful without some education. You can, but it might take a decade of your life.
Very good. Awesome. All right, so why'd you join Lifestyles?
So why did I join? 2014, I joined Lifestyles after about 8 job losses. Either, hey, you got to move because we're shutting down the flight department. Hey, you want a promotion? Sure, you got to move. Hey, 9/11 happened. You got to move. Hey, crashes, right? No crashes. Never crashed an airplane. Never will. At least. So it's just yeah.
I'll knock on wood for you.
I'm not gonna do that. So it was just an unstable career. I got tired of moving. Like I said, I wanted to find something on the side. I did real estate, but my 12 single-family homes started getting me pretty busy, and then I had no life. So I'm doing that, and I'm flying airplanes. Of course, you got a family, so it was just too hard of a life. So I just decided this is tough. I got to travel the world. I got to go everywhere, but I never got to go on vacation. I never got to see my son's 4th birthday. I never really got to take more than 1 day off when my wife went in the hospital for a surgery. They become corporate America, which you've all experienced, is very demanding. So it was too challenging.
Anybody in corporate America here? Couple?
I mean, you just sell your soul to corporate America. They'll pay you good, but you just have no life. They control you. They own you. They do it all. And, I ran this book called Always Be the Buyer from Dan Sullivan. And you think about with your money, we're very particular. We'll say, hey, I'm not going to give you my money unless I really know what you're going to do with it. Well, what about your time? We give our time to an employer. We never think twice about how they treat us for that time. And wouldn't it be nice to say, no, I don't want to move? Or, you know what, I don't think I will. If you're the buyer when it comes to your time, then you can have control over it. And that's where I switched over. When I got to the Lifestyles, I started making some passive income, some active income. With my career at aviation actually really increased too, because I could say, no, I'm not going to do that. Because I didn't have to find a job to feed my family. I could take some time. So why LU? Because I wanted to control my financial future.
Very good. All right, so what are we going to talk about tonight?
So it's my property in Orange, Texas. So you're going to say, why Orange, Texas? Well, I tried to buy one.
First of all, does anybody know where Orange, Texas is?
If you get on I-10 West and you don't leave the state of Texas, you're now in Orange, Texas. Just keep going till you don't leave. Just keep going. When you hit Louisiana, the last exit, that's my apartment. Actually, I have 2 apartments there now, so the last 2 exits are my apartment. Why Orange, Texas? Well, I tried to buy one across the street from my house. Couldn't find one for sale. Next thing you know, I'm looking all over Houston. Next thing you know, I'm down in Beaumont. And I found this opportunity in Orange, Texas, about 2 hours away. And they said, why would you do that? Well, because I made $1 million. Would you drive 2 hours for $1 million? I did. So we bought a 144 unit apartment. It's a 1999, so it's a newer property, which was really nice. I couldn't believe how much I paid for it, $9.6 million. To me, that just was absurd for a small town Orange. Almost $67,000 per door, times that by 144. Couldn't believe how much it cost, but I actually only offered him 9.5. He wanted like 11 million. We were pretty far apart. I actually just walked away from the deal. But 2 months later, the seller, a little more motivated, he was doing a reverse 1031 or something, and they came back and it came down to what my number was, 9.5, and then at the last minute he goes, make it 9.6, and I said, okay, whatever, we'll do the deal. So we got it under contract. Cash out of pocket was about $3.5 million. That was a lot of cash. Luckily, I didn't have that much money. The good thing is Lifestyles introduced me to some people that did. So me and my 34 Lifestyles friends all put a bunch of money together, and we got $3.5 million. Typically, it was between $50,000 and $75,000 per person for about half of it. The other half people were around $100,000. You just pull that money together. Next thing you know, you look at your bank account the day before closing and go, honey, we have $3.5 million cash. You want to go to Vegas?
Exactly.
So I said, nah, let's wait till we get like a $10 million in cash.
He does have a pilot license, right? They don't like to do that.
So the plan was to buy this property. We're going to finance it. They typically want like 20% down, 25% down. We got 4.97% interest rate for 10 years, a good decade. 1 year interest-only loan, so it helped us on the first year because there was a lot of rehab on this house. It had just been flooded from
This
Harvey.
apartment.
Yeah, this apartment. It had been flooded by Harvey, so they had some exterior damage, but the person that bought it before me had already did the interiors. But it still had probably about $750,000 worth of damage that we needed to rehab or improve the property. We tried to put that in the loan, but we couldn't. So the bottom line is we had to come with an additional $750,000 plus the purchase of the loan. But we were able to do that, and it came down to about $5,200 a door in rehab. So there we are, new property, signed on the dotted line, got the cash, got the close, got the loan. Time to go to work.
Very good. All right, so for those of you that are new and haven't been through the 2-day, just know that David's going to go over every aspect of this. But what I want to point out here is that his all-in price, about $10.3 million, that's $71,000 a door, that includes his rehab, his closing costs, his down payment. That's the entire piece. The cash out of pocket, the $3.5 million, that's the actual money that he raised to get into this deal, okay? If you're a partner, you contributed that $3.5 million, okay? You're an actual member of this LLC. You have stock equity. You're a member of that LLC, okay? So all in, he's like 70 plus $1,000 a door for Orange Apartments. Yes, he overpaid. I'm going to tell you that right now. He overpaid for this apartment complex. Now let's just see what happened because he overpaid. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely overpaid for it, but the good thing about overpaying for this one, I saw value in it. I knew that this thing had a lot of value. I knew I could raise rents. Some of my investors came to me and said, Greg, this seems pretty expensive for small town Orange. Where do you get this idea that you could raise the rents? And I said, from the apartment complex I own 3 miles away that I've had for the last 3 years. So I looked at the 3 years worth of data and said, I absolutely, positively know I can raise rents. So I had to overpay a little bit for this property, or maybe a lot, but the opportunity was there to even make more because the seller didn't recognize, he didn't know the submarket, which the Orange area we call submarket. He was from the Houston area, so he was operating on Houston numbers. So having that knowledge of the local area really helped me out.
Very good.
So so this was a typical, this is like the last 12 months what we do here. So we'd get about $151,000 per month of income. My expenses were just under $100,000, about $95,000. So that gave us our NOI, or net operating income. That's similar to, if you're non-real estate, it's like your EBITDA. That's basically your profit. And that'd be about $55,000, $56,000 a month. And that was pretty consistent. The numbers were pretty good. So originally, we didn't plan on doing any distributions to our partners until about 12 months. We thought maybe as early as 6 months if things really went good, maybe as late as 18 months if things really went bad. There's a lot of assumptions you get into this. But luckily, we hit the ground running, and the first day we took ownership of the property, we got a lease for $100 more rent than what the previously market was. So I just proved it on day one that I could do it. So I immediately changed every rent by $100, and the rent just started pouring in. So we started the rehab, started spending this $750,000 making this property beautiful, and after 90 days I looked and said, we spent a lot of money on rehab, and yet our rehab bank account still has $750,000 in it. So I'm looking around, and it's like we're making so much extra cash, we're putting it into the rehab budget at the same time it was coming out, and it's not going down. So after about 90 days, I said, we're going to be below our rehab numbers. Let's go ahead and start making some distributions. So we did an 8% distribution, started doing that every single month to our investors. But then another 3 months goes by, and we still have $750,000 in our rehab budget. And yet now we've got about half of the rehab done. And I'm like, our numbers aren't going down. Let's bump it up. Let's give them 10% distributions. So now for the next 3 months, we give a 10% distributions. And guess what happened? Our rehab budget still kept going up. So our money kept refilling our rehab budget. So we're at a point again, said, let's bump it to 12%. Let's get some of this money back. And now we're about to end of 9 months. We finished all the rehab, and I still got $750,000 in the bank account. Even though we've spent now $750,000 budget, we spent over $900,000 on the rehab budget because we had extra money. So we made things a little bit nicer. We improved things a little bit better because we had so much cash flow coming in. So at the end of the 9 months, we're looking around and say, you know, we don't need any of this money that we took out of our loan. So we made one check, $750,000, 9 months in, go, here you go. Here's all your rehab money back. So the first year, we distributed in the first 9 months about $933,000, or that's about 35%.
That's awesome. All right. For those of you, again.
Yeah, we're still doing today 14% distribution. We've given out $1.3 million since acquisition. So if you're in the deal today, you're getting 14%.
Very good. Actually, you're getting a little bit more later on. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So again, everybody's new. What drives the price, the value of apartment complex is a little different than single family. What drives the price in multifamily is the net operating income. Expenses, or revenue minus expenses, get your net operating income, minus your debt service, get your cash flow per month, or your cash flow for years, okay? So really what drives the price, or drives the value of an apartment complex is your net operating income, raising rents. The more you raise rents, the more your property is going to be worth. Okay, and again, David will go over every aspect of that in there. Okay, in the first 90 days, you had distributions. Was your rehab complete on that between that 90 days, in that first 90 days?
No, our rehab wasn't complete, and normally we wouldn't do that. But the fact is, we knew during the projections that we'd have extra money left over because we're taking so much. We're cash flowing so well. So you can say our rehab money went down, but then our cash flow money went up. So we had extra money. Whatever bucket you want to put it in, we had extra money. So we could have waited till the end and gave it all at the end, but it was very obvious that we didn't have to wait, give the money back.
So also when we buy apartment complexes, or I'm sorry, apartment communities, we do a lot of due diligence, just like single family. We go through and we look at the pipes, we look at the electrical, we get tons of contractors in there, we walk every single unit, we look at every single lease that's there. So we do due diligence. We do. I shouldn't say that, sorry. All right, so when we get into we actually physically buy the property, okay, there's going to be things that we didn't figure out, or there's just surprises that you get, okay? And that surprise is both positive and not so positive. In this case, right, they raised rents starting right out the bat. The rehab wasn't costing as much as they budgeted for. There were some major things that happened, positive, right?
Yes.
All right, very good, awesome. All right, so just note that. All right, so let's a couple pictures before and after.
So you notice this one says before and before.
Oh yeah, it does, I'm sorry.
And that's on purpose because the person that bought it before me, every downstairs was flooded from Harvey. So they renovated all. I think they kicked everybody out, and it was a big construction zone and renovated it. So when I bought this property, every downstairs looked like this. So what did I do to it? Nothing. I just raised the rent. So thank you for doing that. That's way more than Orange, Texas needed. It was beautiful. All I did was say, you're not charging enough money. So that was my downstairs units. Of course, the upstairs unit, we did have to improve a little bit, but the downstairs, it saved us a lot of money. The pool, everything outside was pretty run down. That's our pool. If you can see in the corner, there's a big fence going around it. And behind the fence, there's all these bushes. It's like they want to keep it a secret and hide it. It hasn't been cleaned up or refurbished, but we looked at that, and our picture to the right looks beautiful, but we didn't change the concrete. We just painted it with some decking. We didn't change the tile or the coping. We just changed the plaster. It's the fence right there. We painted it black, and then we removed all that shrubbery so you can see out in the whole area. So now when you're out there in the playground or you're out with your neighbors, you can see that community feel. You can see your neighbors at the pool. Hey, you get to come over and say hi. You get to know your neighbors a little more. So we cleaned up the pool, made it look beautiful.
Very good.
This is the laundry room. Laundry room people don't like. They like washers and dryers in units. About half of this units had washer and dryer hookups, but they still needed a washer and dryer location. So luckily we bought the property. The contract was up, so we renovated the laundry room. It was old, dark, run down. AC was broken in it. We renovated, put all brand new machines in there. And one of the things that we did was, again, from lifestyles and talking to other operators, we decided to go with the credit card machines because a lot of cash in these cash machines disappear. So that's another way we saved extra money by having that experience and talking to other people saying that, if you can get away from that cash. So there's our beautiful laundry room. And that actually increases our NOI because we get cash off of that every single month. There's the office. It was right around Christmas time there. It doesn't look bad, but the carpet was stained. It was smelly. It's very bland looking. That door in the upper right-hand corner, that goes into a fitness center. It was shut down, so people were walking through your lobby, smelly, sweaty. It's like not really what you want them to do. So we cleaned it all up. Yeah, there it is there. So it was shut down, so we got that back online. We fixed up the office. We painted it, fireplace. Just made it look nice and modern where you come in. Makes you want to go see what the units look like. If you walk into the office, again, a technique that you learn in the 2-day is how do you get people to rent? How do you get people to market? So your office is your marketing, and that's what we did, made it look beautiful.
Very good. And similar to the single family, where single family, they're going to teach you, you come in, you buy it, you fix everything, you throw all the capital in, you fix everything, make it new, and build it in, okay? On the multifamily, we do the similar thing, except we're fixing most things, but we're focused on what things we can do and fix that will drive rents. Keep tenants and increase the price. If it's empty, how do we get tenants in? So eye appeal, things are going, when you first walk in the leasing office, that's the first thing they see, right? And who they greet them. And does it look all run down? Does it look like it needs a new coat of paint and carpet or flooring? Goes a long way. So all the capital rehab that he did, it's an emphasis on what I can do to raise the rents, okay? He mentioned that, I think back in the beginning, the granite countertops, real nice, but for Orange, Texas, you just don't need it. They're gonna pay this much in rent for a nice apartment. They're not gonna pay this much because it has granite.
Yeah, that's a $15,000, maybe $18,000 upgrade for everything in there. Microwave, black appliances, it's really nice. The tenants love it, but a lot of them would rent our upstairs first because it was $100 cheaper.
Exactly. So you got to know your clientele.
So they spent way too much money. Matter of fact, they didn't even understand the numbers. They were not sure if they wanted to sell it because they were getting a rent bump for the downstairs, and they thought maybe we'll spend, another $2 million and do all the upstairs too to get that $100. That's what his plan was. The seller was like, I don't know, if we upgrade the upstairs, we could probably get $100 more a unit. I don't know if I want to sell this one. Maybe we'll upgrade it first and then sell it. So, luckily I got it because I got the $100 and I didn't upgrade the upstairs units.
Right. So we mentioned drive rents, right? Drive rents, increase occupancy. We're looking for revenue. So let's just talk about real quick. That's what drives the value. So what's happened the first year, second year, and third year on this property? Sorry.
So first year we increased rents. We did it a couple different ways. We raised the rent itself and saying, hey, you're too low rent. Number two, we implemented, there's a lot of transitional people coming in that area. So we gave them short-term leases for a fee. We let them transfer to one of the different apartments for a fee. We had all this additional, what we call other income. Laundry income, that increased.
And all that's discussed in the 2-day this week.
Yeah,
right?
Just giving you examples. One of the way we increased income was they also had what they called the Hometown Heroes discount. So if you were a first responder or a police officer, they gave you 10% discount. If you're a school teacher, they gave you a 10% discount. If you knew a school teacher, they gave you a 10% discount. If you're a veteran, you got a 10% discount. If you worked at Walmart, you got a 10% discount. I think everybody there got a 10% discount. And they're already below market rents anyway. So we immediately went away with that. Hey, we appreciate the teachers and the first responders, and we're going to give you a beautiful property to live in and give you great maintenance, but you don't get a discount. So our rents started up there. Rents, laundry, all included, about $1.5 million the first year. And then you can see it went up 1.7 and now 1.8. And then operating expenses, we cut that down significantly too. We put in some LED lighting, a lot of cost structural, fixed water. You can do a lot of things to cut cost as well. I mean, one example, you got a lot of leaking toilets. You can change it to a low flow toilet. You're going to save a couple gallons of water per day times 144 times 365. it adds up very quickly. So we did a lot of cost-saving effects that was from our rehab budget as well. So you take the income minus the expenses, and that's our profit, $947,000 a year. We got to pay a mortgage, of course. Mortgage about $411,000 a year. So that gave us a cash flow actually in our bank account about $536,000. So if you add all those numbers, that's about a 15.3% return the first year, and that's just on cash flow.
And that's just on cash flow, year one, doing the rehab. That's amazing.
I just want to simplify it for the new people. Where are my new people? Pretend you bought a bond and they made a rate of return. You heard all that stuff up top? If you're brand new, here's the simple way. Who'd like to make 15% this year, 19% this year, and 20% that year? And I know like all this stuff sounds like Greek to you, and I'm going to break this down because you're hearing all these weird words like, maybe they're doing a rub or something. You're like, what the heck's that, a back massage? I don't know. But I'll break it down in simple English so we can. What you have to know is if I put money in, if I put my 100 grand, I'd make 15 grand a year, tax-free. Who'd be okay with that? You know what I mean? That's what it is. And then they're going to show you the wonderful thing, because they're talking about this thing with NOI and raising it. That's what's going to be amazing in the next slide. That's just what I want to bring up.
Very good.
And we can increase it every year because, we typically most people expect our rents to go up a little bit. We get more efficiencies as we go forward. So the first year is the biggest bump. We did the most significant change, but each year it goes up. And as you can see, year two here, we're almost 19.7%. We're distributing 14% right now. That beats any Bank of America 0.5% savings account by far. And year three is going to be even better.
Very good. Awesome. So on your this is just what we call cash on cash return. These are money that he's actually going to distribute. So you have partners in this deal, correct?
I do. We have about 34 partners in this deal.
And what's the lowest partner? How much do they contribute?
I think 50,000. 50,000 was the lowest.
Okay.
Probably about half are 50,000 investors, 75,000 investors, and the other half are around $100,000 investors.
So of these people that put in money, they're all passives. They're all sitting, what we call passives, people who are just like, here's a check, I want to invest in your. They got 19% cash.
They did, in their check.
Bank account.
They get
In
it
their
every
checking
single
account.
month. I pay monthly, so every single month they get a check. For the last 2.5 years almost, they've gotten checked, last 2 years.
Awesome.
Every single month. Well, we did take 1 month off when Dale told me to stop doing all distributions due to COVID. So we freaked out. We shut it down for a month.
One more thing, because I know you're going to go forward. Yep. You have 34 different people.
Yeah.
Are they all from Houston?
No.
I have people from all across America.
Yes.
Could you explain some of the different areas where because people don't understand, being a passive investor, you don't have to live here. So tell me just give me some of the places they are, and also maybe different types of walks of life, like truck drivers, whatever. And one more thing, because I'm not done.
Okay.
Just having fun. Is, how much involvement do they have in this property? Can you share that with those guys out there that are thinking about doing this?
Yeah, so if you're a passive investor, it's just like it sounds. You're passive. It's just mailbox money. You do your work, your due diligence in the lead investor and the deal that he presents. You can do that online. You do it with a phone call. You do it on a presentation. But once you sign on the dotted line and give him a check, your work's over. There's nothing for you to do. It's all being done for you. You're hiring a staff to take care of it and do it for you. So you can be in California, you can be in New York, you can be in all over Texas, you can be in Florida on your boat, and you just get in the deal, and then your work is done. And you trust that the deal that you've researched, the lead that you've invested in, that he's going to go give you the performance that you expect. So we've got people all over the country, and most of them have never seen the property. Why would they? Why would you drive 2 hours out there to drive by and go, yeah, it's a dirty old apartment. What do you want me to do? Here's my check, right? Go make it beautiful. But they don't really care. They care about the monthly financial reports because they get really excited, and they really care about the checks that come every single month. So the good news is you can trade we'll go over this later, but you can trade your time for money or money for money. When you trade your money for money, you can do it anywhere. You could be on a beach in Hawaii, and you can give somebody a check, and there's only so many jobs you can have. There's only so many airplanes I can fly at one time, but there's no limit of how many apartments I can invest in.
I will give you a little bit of advice for those who do become leads. The worst passive you can possibly have is a family member. They never look at anything. They never go to the property. All they want to know is when's my next check coming? Where's my check? Where's my check? That's all they care about. So
They won't even read it.
they won't even read what
They'll
you
call
said.
you up and go, how's the apartment doing? Well, I spent an hour giving you all these financial reports. I know, but I know you're doing a good job. Is it doing good? It's doing good. Okay, cool.
When's my next check?
So checks are going up soon. When's the refi?
Very good. Awesome. All right, so we talked about raising revenues. We talked about the value of an apartment complex, apartment community, I will get that straight someday, is based on your net operating income. That's literally all it's based on. So when you first purchased this, the net operating income was about $690,000, right? And you bought it for $9.6 million.
Yes.
Right? All right, so in year one, that net operating income increased to $947,000, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if we take that 947 divided by what we call a cap rate, which, again, this is math, and David will go over that this weekend. We put a 6.6 cap rate on there, and basically we increased the value to $14.5 million, okay? So in year one, the value of that property went from about 9.6 up to 14.5. We increased the value again, or the NOI again in year two. We're projecting in year three. So in year three, we're projecting that this total apartment complex is going to appraise for about $19 million, okay? If you take the $19 million divided by 144,
144 doors, yes.
I think it's around 130,
125.
125,000 a door, basically. In the city of Orange, $125,000 a door, okay, for an apartment community, you might think is a little bit hard to understand, but I'm telling you right now, if you go out there and try to build something, you can't even build it for that right now.
Not
Okay?
even close.
So that's a fair, it passes the smell test as far as valuation. So, and from you purchase it for 19.6, in 3 years it's going to be, I'm sorry, you purchase it for 9.6. In year three, it's going to be worth about 19. That is a $9.5 million increase in value.
In 3 years.
In 3 years.
36
Y'all
months.
get that? Okay. Now, how much did your original partners invest?
$3.5 million for the group.
So forget the cash flow. Forget the 15, 20% that you've been getting mailbox money. In 3 years, if you're sitting on this deal, it went from $9.6 million up to another $9.5 million worth of value. That's another 270% return?
273.
Increase? That's amazing. Round of applause. That's amazing.
Just think of it as like a cash machine. You know, you got two apartments. How much cash does it produce? How much value does it produce? And the more cash it produces, the more valuable it is. Right. If you're going to buy a machine producing a little bit of cash or a lot of cash.
And this, my friends, is the value of real estate. This is why people do real estate right here. Because in 3 years, he is either going to refinance this and pull out I think the technical term is a crap load of money, and distribute it to his passive investors. They're still going to own the property, and then they're going to go forward and do the same thing again.
How much tax are they going to pay when they pull out that money?
When they pull out that money,
you
how
do
much
it
tax
right-
are you going to pay?
0.
You're going to pay 0 taxes because your taxes are not based on how much money you get. Your taxes are going to be based on what we call a K1 that you're going to get every year. It says your ownership. And because you bought this huge apartment complex and it has this little thing called depreciation that David's going to go over again, it's an accounting term. It means I made this much money, but I also get to write off a percentage of my value that I purchased, and I'm going to have negative loss that I'm going to show on my K1. So according to the IRS, I don't make a dime, but I'm pocketing 20%.
And you don't even have to wait till the 3 years that we sell it because we did accelerated depreciation. So we distributed between $900 and $1 million. So you got the cash, but yet your tax return shows that you lost money on this property big time. So not only do you not pay any tax on it, you get to offset some other taxes that you made somewhere else.
God bless the IRS.
Till they audit you. All right, so we talked a little bit about this, but how did you achieve all this?
Well, I found the property. That took a lot of help, but we got it. It was an off-market deal, which means I got there before it went on the open market. So that gave me a little bit of extra negotiating time. I also had to raise the capital. So I found 33 Lifestyles members to give me 90% of the capital required. So that was the easiest part. Out of everything we do to put this deal together, raising the capital is the easiest. And everybody's scared like, how would I buy $1 million apartment? I would never be able to get that kind of money. Well, they're going to teach you how. Raise rents day one, $100. We talked about that. We didn't stop at day one. That was just the first day. And then about 3 months into it, raised it again. And then I think we've raised it 3 or 4 times since then. So we've continued to raise rents and improve the property. So that helped. We also dropped that 10% concession fee to everybody, once our rent renewed. So that helped us out a bunch. And then we were able to rehab. We had some contractor issues, but we got rid of those issues, and we actually got better contracting to get the property rehabbed. So we actually saved about 20% below budget on that. So we actually just spent some more money on rehab. We made the property nice. We put that fitness center back online. We made a beautiful pool for everybody to use. We put a playground in, which we weren't sure we were going to do that. So now we got a beautiful playground. We put in barbecue stations. We got a really nice dog park. I was shocked at how much people like a dog park. So just to be competitive, you talk to other leads, other people in your industry, and they talk about that was an important amenity to them. And I was like, really, a dog park? I don't have a dog. But I did it, and it worked. We had one person walk in, we show them, and the first thing they go, wow, you have a dog park? Next thing you know, they fill out an application. Thanks for the tip, right? So you do stuff like that at the business center.
And then you also get to charge them pet rent, right?
Oh, yeah, we charge them a
Yes.
pet fee and pet rent every single month.
And what does that do to your NOI?
Money.
And what does that do to the value of the property? Awesome. Very
It
good.
increases our cash machine.
right.
So economies of scale, I had another property, my first property, 3 miles away. So I was really able to use some overlapping staffing, all the same contractors. We knew the market, we knew the vendors, we knew all that. So we could hit the ground running really quick and have some of the same staffing run in between the properties. So that really increased the value of the property too, getting that.
I think the one thing that you don't have on here that I think is really the main reason you achieved this
Yeah.
is because you did it. You actually bought the thing, okay? There are so many people, probably not y'all, but before COVID hit, this place would be packed, and there's people that have been joining lifestyles for 10 years, and they'd go to every road trip, and they never bought anything. They're probably like Dale's talking about, just analyze, never do anything. I'm like, if you've never done anything, buy a single family house. Just buy one house. Just do something, and you will make the money. You will increase your wealth. So the biggest step is actually doing it. So kudos.
Take the step.
All right. So how's lifestyles change your life?
It's amazing. Life's amazing. Life's wonderful. Even with the COVID, even with everything else, I have a better family now. I almost got a divorce. In aviation, there's things called AIDS, aviation-induced divorce syndrome. Yeah. And it's real. So all my friends are like, how many wives you on, How much is your child support? It was able to, I actually met my wife. She was a ramp agent parking my airplane. Hey, So we been together ever since. So now we have a much better life. That's my son. We moved him up to UT Austin, which is great, and I was able to do that because I wasn't flying airplanes around the world somewhere.
And that extra income comes in handy when your kids get that old too.
It really does. So, I never need to work in corporate America again, but I can. I can be the buyer. Oh, you want me to fly your airplane? What kind is it? How big is it? How much are you going to pay me? Do I have to work weekends or nights? Like, I don't know. Let me think about it. Maybe I'll do it for a little bit. So I can control that and say, really? You want me to fly that dangerous piece of junk leaking oil and I got to move to Detroit to do it? Okay, I got to feed my family. I don't have to be in that position anymore. So it's the money that changes your life because it gives you freedom. And you can do what you want with that freedom, like spend it with your family, spend it with your friends, do some amazing things. So now I'm financially free. I'm able to retire after 5 years. I have more money now in really 5 years, less than 5 years, than I did being a pilot for 26 years. So I moved around about 6 or 7 times to different states. I missed every birthday party, concert tickets. I did all that, and I stayed barely middle income. And then within 5 years, I was able to make a difference. And that's because you have so much support doing it. Again, I spent 10 years on the single family side, and I made some wealth there. I probably made $1 million in a decade, so that's good, but gosh, I worked awful hard for it. Now I did this, and it's just not $1 million, it's continually every single month. So I read this book also. It says if you have a problem that money can solve and you have money, then you don't have a problem. So think about that. If you had some extra income, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, a lot of problems go away. My son got his wisdom teeth taken out this morning. We walked in to get that done. I was there. I wasn't on a trip flying somewhere. And they said, oh, yeah, your deductible's $2,025. I was like, okay, there you go. Take care of them. I was able to do that before. I'd be like, crap, now I can't pay rent. Now we can't eat because we need medical expenses. So money can solve a lot of problems and make your life better.
Comes with more too.
Yes, it can.
Yeah, you have a wife that wants a $26 million house, so right, Del? Very good. So what are your goals going forward?
So I'm on my property number 3. I just purchased 6 months ago. It's a huge, major rehab, deep value play. We'll go over that, but about a $2 million budget. So that's taking a lot of my time right now. So I want my time back. So I need to get that thing finished ASAP and get that stabilized. Once that's done, I'm going on vacation. Not just a vacation, but like every month I'm going on vacation, at least a weekend. Every month I get it lined up. It's just waiting to hit some things. And, I'm getting older. I hit 50 years old this month. Being wealthy but not healthy is no fun, so I got to work on my health. I have some more time, have some more money, so I need to do that. Let's see, long-term goals. I don't know. Maybe I'll buy an airplane. Probably not this global Bombardier $72 million Mach 9.2, 14-hour range, take off from Hooks, land in Shanghai. Probably not that one, but at least I'll be in the front of the airplane and not having to miss everything from the back. Travel the world a little more, go see it all while I can. I was over in Greece, and we were just at the top of the Marriott eating dinner before we leave in the morning, and we're talking to the waiter, and there's the Atropolis. It was all light up over there, the Atropolis, and I said, man, that's pretty neat. Too bad we don't have time to go see it. And he goes, yeah, most people only see it about the same way you do from a distance. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, they all pull up in the buses, and the young people get out and they run all the way to the top of the steps, and they go take pictures of it, and everybody else gets out on their walkers, and they just take their picture, and they get back on the bus and wait for 2 hours because they waited some day to go see and travel the world. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go soon.
Very good.
And every month.
Awesome. All right. So just like single family, multifamily, we try to assemble a team, people to help us get to where we want to be. So who's on your team?
So number one is lifestyles. It just no way I could have the amount of information spoon-fed to me at my fingertips to challenge, to go over, miss all the landmines, to find the right property and know what to do. You could not do that without lifestyles. So just a huge round of applause for lifestyles. Thank you guys. So without them, I couldn't do any of this. Lead Curtis Haynes, the guy's busy. I call him, I'll text him. 5-10 minutes later, he's calling or texting me back. To have access to a guy like that with that kind of knowledge, with that kind of, is fantastic. The same thing with Lee, really helped me out on my first deal. Did a couple things wrong, called Lee, he smacked me over the head a couple times. You're not following Dell's rules. And so Lee's really helped me out a lot on that one. And then just really the admin staff, Randa and all her support staff and everybody, that's been really good. But there's a second part that most people don't realize. It's the other leads that you get a huge amount of value from. We have a group in Southeast Texas, like he was saying, that meets up, that have similar apartments in the same area. And, to have that access to call them on the phone or text them and get results and help and what contractor did you use? I mean, think about that family, that group to have access to something like that. So that's pretty amazing to do that. And then you need to build a team, You need to have a CPA, you need to have attorneys, you need to have a lender. I used Tony over at... used to be, he's my lender. Without a lender, what can you buy? You got to have good loans. You got to have good loan breaks. So that's been super good. And it's the support staff. And then, once I buy the property, I don't want to do all the work. So my QH team, which is my management company, all my employees, they really are great because they do all the work for me. So you can't do it on your own. You need a big team.
Cannot, you're right. All right, so we have time for a couple questions.
That's the first day I bought the property. I don't know if I'm smiling or not, or maybe I was scared.
Probably a little bit of both. All right, any questions? We got time for one or two. Yes, ma'am.
Did I buy the laundry or rent it out? So
Laundry machines. Yeah.
Laundry machines. I actually bought those. I looked at the cost of renting them, but we made a financial decision. We actually purchased them, but then we signed a contract for a third party to maintain for us. And the fact that I purchased them, the biggest reason was I was able to be able to keep the money and collect it a lot easier and faster. So we bought it. Someone else maintains it. We just collect the cash.
Very good. Anything else? Yes, sir. How'd you find the deal?
Yeah, so it's with brokers help me, networking, it's that being in lifestyles, a lot of people, then people of people, and they knew I was in Orange, and, broker contacted me for a smaller property and it fell through and they're like, well, how about 144 unit? And I was like, okay. So it was through networking. I mean, you don't get access to sellers without knowing people.
So for those aspiring leads or people that have not done your first deal and you're looking for your first deal, I had a meeting actually with some aspiring leads before this, and the hardest thing to do on the multifamily is get your first deal. But once you get your first deal, literally the next day or the next week, the brokers are calling you, offering you other deals. Is that not true?
Yeah, my third deal, a broker brought it to me, offered it to me, never asked for it. The last 6 months, I've probably had 10 deals brought to me. Once they know you can do a deal and you can work with and you know what you're doing, you got the support, you can fund the deals come to you.
Yep. So hang in there. Once you get your first deal, it'll start flowing from there. So, all right. Well, let's give Greg a good hand of applause. Great job.